This is Sybert signing into Red Alert 3 on the map Magmageddon. And today we have a MagmaExtravaganza, a Magmageddon Extravaganza, 3 Magma matches, 3v3s. But we're kicking it off in the north. This green Empire player is named EmpirePlayer. I mean, creativity's hard to come by, but as the yellow Soviets, this is OBIEK. Opening up Crane first, and in the south, rounding out team number 1 as the Red Allies with a perfect distribution of factions. This is YuNo. EmpirePlayer, OBIEK, and YuNo making up team number 1. Meanwhile, on the right side of the map, team number 2, we're kicking it off with the blue EmpirePlayer. This is blue EmpirePlayer. No, it's KingKonG. It's actually KingKonG. He has a real name. He's not just named EmpirePlayer. And in the middle, as the purple allies, this is InBetween, who is in between 2 other places. Maybe he'll be caught in between a rock and a hard place later on in this match. We'll see. But in the north, as the Soviets giving us another perfect faction distribution team, this is the cyan SmilingSadist. So we got a bucket of names, and they're all kind of weird and freaky-deaky, and Dojo getting sniped. By the way, big thanks to the folks who support the channel over on Patreon. Zane D, Dan R, Dominic V, Tech Doc, David R, Admiral Akbar 47, and James, some of the newcomers over on Patreon. Big thanks to the folks who are able to do that. Of course, no obligation. Videos will keep appearing for you, but, you know, always appreciated. 3 matches on Magmageddon. Not recently, because these matches are actually pretty old. They're from the beginning of 2021. But the maps that I've pulled out, by the way, good engage with those Imperial Warriors. Bears and Peacekeepers both essentially getting stopped in equal numbers by those EmpirePlayer Imperial Warriors. Ooh, right up to an Assault Destroyer. The replays that have come in that I've been pulling out of the email have been actually pretty good. They've been some really fun and exciting matches, which is definitely not always the case. So hopefully these 3 Magmageddon games continue that trend. But that being said, I am still behind on my email. Looks like YuNo going to be getting pushed out of KingKonG's base. KingKonG looks like he's doing a little Tengu harass over here as well. Although a Tesla coil is coming up, courtesy of OBIEK. And OBIEK is actually Tesla pushing onto the other side of the map. In between may truly be caught in between a rock and a hard place, as he has Tengus in the sky waiting to jump on his Vindicators. And then he's got a Tesla coil, which is under construction, threatening to take him down at any moment. Assault Destroyer goes down. The Black Hole Armor no longer protecting these Javelin soldiers. They all get jumped on and dunked down into the ground. The Riptide now going to be standing against Tengu, and the Tank Busters finally get in on the action. Striker heading up to the north side. Reactor going to be body blocking for this Tesla coil and the Sentry Gun as well. Looks like the Tengus have cleared out, which means this Striker from KingKonG may actually, well, I don't think he'll get the MCV. That's a lot of damage to wear through that MCV. But he can help shut down this Tesla coil and maybe even stop it before it does very much damage at all. The Vindicator gets out into the air, gonna go for the nothing. I'm not sure what the goal is here. He finally goes for the Tesla coil, manages to take that down, and this Chopper VX is going to be eliminated. An additional multi-gunner turret getting established there by YuNo. Meanwhile, a couple of Imperial Warriors in the north going to be getting shut down by that hammer tank. Meanwhile, the power plant is the target now for YuNo. The airfield has been shut down. Tsunami tanks and an MCV are here for him. KingKonG to try and hold the line, but still working against, well, trying to go for some harassment. Nice dodge by YuNo, able to keep both of his harvesters alive, although they are kind of in that low damage mode. At least one of them is extremely low health and going to be harvesting that much more slowly. Engineer gets sniped, but was that an Engineer from an MCV cell? It very well may have been. I don't see a Cyan MCV because it's on the other side of the map, and he is turret pushing as well. Multi-gunner turret getting established here, and I think that's a Tesla coil coming up from OBIEK, actually. Or, no, from, I guess, SmilingSadist. But YuNo dropping the multi-gunner turret to try and help out with the defense, and that Tesla Coil goes down, Vindicator gets eliminated, and the Strikers are going to have to run for the hills as those Bullfrogs clear the air. MCV heads back away from the front line. KingKonG is determining it's a little bit too costly for him to stick around in the front lines. EmpirePlayer and SmilingSadist trying to find some kind of value against each other. Such an awkward engage as Tsunami Tanks and Imperial Warriors cross the map. A couple of Tank Busters as well for KingKonG. Going to be looking to go for the kill. And finally, SmilingSadist actually gets a Tesla Coil up and running, but no flak. Where's the Bullfrogs? It looks like they got cleaned up by the Tsunami Tanks. And this just might be too much. A single Chopper VX might just be too much for SmilingSadist to deal with. Flag Troopers and a couple of conscripts trying to find their way to blocking those reinforcements coming in for KingKonG. He's not going for the crush. He's focused elsewhere, controlling units somewhere else on the map. Tesla Coil goes down. SmilingSadist has been stopped. He's going to be getting pushed back, and it looks like OBIEK is just continuing with some kind of engineer capping, Tesla Coil pushing plan here on the north side of the map. He's cutting off SmilingSadist's life supply. He's stopping his production. He stole his super reactor, and that may be enough. The steal of the super reactor may simply be enough by itself to completely kill SmilingSadist. It looks like EmpirePlayer, OBIEK, and YuNo might be able to come through in this game. OBIEK going to have some trouble against these Tsunami Tanks, but ultimately I think he'll be okay considering he's spread out around the map. He's managed to get a refinery up and running here in the middle, and he's also got this oil derrick as well, still cranking away. So he's got a bit of money, a bit of income coming in, and not necessarily totally out of the game. Another Tesla Coil trying to establish itself. A couple of these are, well, two Tsunami Tanks, but one of them does have the point defense drone, so it will be able to absorb an additional shot from that Tesla Coil. Aircraft carrier out and ready. YuNo putting the hurt directly on KingKonG. A fast-paced, action-packed match, but a little bit one-sided as things have gotten underway. KingKonG has done a pretty good job of striking back and being active in various places around the map, but ultimately EmpirePlayer and OBIEK sort of just, I guess, held their own. EmpirePlayer really didn't do too much. OBIEK, perhaps the real hero of the team on the left side. He was the disruption factor for our team on the right side, really stopping SmilingSadist and InBetween from being effective. EmpirePlayer playing good enough defense to hold the line. It looks like the Tesla Coil, the stasis from the Terror Drone going to be locking down one of those Tsunami Tanks, but eventually the Terror Drone does go down. The MCV gets sniped, and SmilingSadist is still trying to pull something from nothing. This is sort of a do-or-die situation for him. He doesn't have much more behind enemy lines, or back in his own main base, really. But it might actually just be enough. YuNo perhaps falling apart a bit here. KingKonG pushing out in the south, going to be taking the fight to YuNo. EmpirePlayer just getting crushed now without actually able to hold the without actually being able to hold the defense. This MCV, everything is falling apart for our team on the left side, and actually our team on the right side now with a bit of a comeback, a bit of a strike back against Empire, OBIEK, and YuNo. We'll see. I mean, it's not over till it's over, but it was looking much more in the favor of Empire, OBIEK, and YuNo. I feel like OBIEK, oh man, he still hasn't dealt with this one Tsunami Tank. KingKonG is actually getting pretty good value for that one half-dead Tsunami Tank. One Apollo going to be able to tear through these Tengus. KingKonG giving a couple of them away as a minor donation there. Deciding to turn tail and disengage at the right moment. This Tsunami Tank still putting a bit of pressure and a bit of damage out. Now EmpirePlayer trying to split off in various areas and go for the harass, trying to snipe down the oil derrick because, hey, what value you can get is still good value. Super Reactor may be getting taken out, but this is actually a Super Reactor that was stolen by OBIEK. He goes for the cell. He's not going to go for the destruction. And another toxin drop on top of OBIEK's harvesters. The oil derrick goes down. The engineer is primed and waiting. KingKonG may be maybe losing a refinery. And no, he actually goes for the shot. He goes to try and just shoot the ore refinery rather than capture it. OBIEK making a bit of a misclick there, or he is just going maximum troll mode. KingKonG has been pushed back in the south. OBIEK, or YuNo, is finally getting back on the offense with this aircraft carrier. Can start targeting down that critical infrastructure, and the team on the right starting to buckle once more. EmpirePlayer is essentially out of this game. I think he's maybe got a couple of tsunami tanks running around the map, or maybe a Tengu as well as this one tsunami tank. But EmpirePlayer is pretty close to out of it. KingKonG and InBetween are really where the hope lies. InBetween still has his MCV. He still has a bit of income, but not necessarily too much more than that. Sentry gun getting deployed. There is a dojo here to try and, I don't know, grab an engineer or something, but there is a bear there, so that's not going to work. KingKonG, his entire main base may just get pushed to just turn to mush. The MCV turns south. SmilingSadist not able to finish off EmpirePlayer, so EmpirePlayer still has a bit of income. I don't think it's doing anything for him, but I guess if he keeps collecting income, then eventually he'll give a big cash bonus to OBIEK or YuNo, whichever one gets his stuff. Just harvesting away at that cash. SmilingSadist still trying to go for that turret push. An aircraft carrier, I think, will be able to go for the kill on this one lonely power plant. Goodbye, power plant. Harvester getting harassed. EmpirePlayer with his mostly dead Tengu, trying to find some kind of value, some kind of purchase. Tengu gets cleaned up. Twin Blades are here to deal with the Tesla coil. The flak cannon is going to have enough time to get constructed, though, so it's going to be four Twin Blades versus this flak cannon. InBetween coming in with a bombing run as well, trying to cut down the forces or the production of OBIEK. The flak cannon pushes back the Twin Blades, and that gives another moment for an additional Tesla coil to be established. 405 hammer tanks rolling into the base. OBIEK's defense is finally here. It's taken him a long time to get to this place, but EmpirePlayer has been defeated. He hands over his cash and his refinery, his oil derrick, to OBIEK, and that will pretty much do it for EmpirePlayer. It's down to a 3v2, but SmilingSadist, he has been on the edge of defeat for a while. He's really just got this MCV push going on, and that is it. But with triple refinery, he's actually doing okay on income. Just no super reactor, or I guess he rebuilt a super reactor somewhere else. Yeah, way down here, no super reactor in his main base, but aircraft carrier closing in. YuNo's single aircraft carrier may end up being the hero for our team on the left side. Satellites getting dropped by SmilingSadist, takes out the harvester of OBIEK. The map getting a bit smaller as YuNo engulfs more and more of it. InBetween and KingKonG may have to use those individual units to start targeting stuff down. YuNo with the technological advantage and with the slow buildup has finally gotten to a place of... KingKonG has been defeated, has finally gotten to a place of actually being able to maybe 1v3 this from the extremely weakened state that the other players are in. Vindicators have no way to land, no place to land. Twin Blades showing up, OBIEK going for the power plant snipe, always a good way to slow down production. InBetween has been defeated. It's all coming down to SmilingSadist, and I think he's going to have to call it a decent back and forth. As it turned out, it was looking like a one-sided slapdown, and in the end it will be a one-sided slapdown. But that little midpoint where they kind of brought things back a little bit more into their favor. SmilingSadist hanging out in this game for just a little while longer. Oh, he actually might, no. If he had taken this base, then he would actually have a chance of, like, doing some kind of top half of the map thing and just, you know, turret pushing his way to death. But it's going to be hard to stop an aircraft carrier, especially a fully heroic aircraft carrier, unless it's already been stopped. Did that aircraft carrier go down? Super Reactor gets eliminated. Twin Blades cycling around the map for OBIEK and just looking for more and more opportunities. I mean, much of OBIEK's army got beaten down, and OBIEK himself trying that Tesla coil push, which had decent success, but ultimately wasn't able to... It actually did a really good job of disrupting the attacks of InBetween and SmilingSadist, but it ultimately wasn't able to continue on for very much longer. It got stopped itself. Twin Blades just looking around the map for more and more stuff to blow up. YuNo cleaning up on the south side, coming in from the middle as well. And look at that, fully established. Chronosphere up and running. Peacekeepers showing up. Peacekeepers take a surprising amount of blasts from Mirage tanks when they are in that shield mode. Gets the catch. That one Mirage tank trying to look like a tree. The Toxins don't care what you look like. Hammer tanks for OBIEK getting to work as well. He's not just a twin blade boy. He's got some hammers as well. Wow, this game almost went so many different directions. SmilingSadist almost killed EmpirePlayer much more quickly, but he lost those bullfrogs. They got split up and they got eliminated by like multi-gunner turret and tsunami tanks or something, but he almost just crushed EmpirePlayer, and that would have really swung things into the favor of our team on the right side if SmilingSadist had been able to completely take down EmpirePlayer and even take these 2 expansions, even these 3 expansions, but even just getting these expansions, taking them away from EmpirePlayer and eventually from OBIEK. That would have been just phenomenal. Multi-MCV for SmilingSadist, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Again, the noose getting ever tighter around the neck of SmilingSadist as he is not have a lot of options left. I guess he does still have some, but we got 20 seconds, well, 27 seconds on the Chronosphere and 5 minutes on the Proton Collider. Athena cannons and other high-tech allied gadgetry making their way around the map. Hammer tanks moving around, and, well, eventually that MCV will get targeted. Power plants trying to save SmilingSadist. Ooh, not enough to send him into low power mode. He's still online. He's still tried to do something. I don't know what his hope possibly could be here, but it would be a pretty amazing comeback if he was able to fight from this position. Perhaps a better description would be, and it would be an amazing throw by YuNo and OBIEK. Dolphin barely manages to escape there. OBIEK has spotted the second MCV additionally. I mean, they've already seen that this MCV was there, but they're getting a second really good look at this MCV. I guess they're going to try and crush this base over here. Another power plant gets sniped, but still not a low power mode for SmilingSadist. He's got himself a lot of multi-gunner turrets spread out throughout the map. Can't stop these guns with your hydrofoil. Got a conscript just shooting a hydrofoil for forever. What are you guys drinking? I always enjoy the idea of when people are like, "Ooh, it's Relic 3 time," or "Ooh, it's Command & Conquer time. I'm gonna go get me a snack." Like I got myself some coffee and water because you know need a little refresher for the old parched throat. But I always enjoy hearing people, even if it's the guy who keeps saying like, "Me and my girlfriend love falling asleep watching your videos," and every time I'm like, "That's a lovely sentiment," but it also does like 5% make me feel like I'm just putting people to sleep. Which, you know, hey, whatever helps. But SmilingSadist has been defeated. Empire, OBIEK, and YuNo reign victorious. Not so much EmpirePlayer because he's gone, but... So yeah, some people say tea, but, you know, there's like a billion kinds of tea. What do you mean by tea? When you make a lovely cup of tea, a lovely cuppa, and you watch the Command & Conquer, what is your go-to? For me, a lot of coffee, a lot of water. If I'm watching something, I like to have the chips. Can't do that while casting. Got to get the crunch, crunch, crunch in there. Maybe I should do one video and it's just called The Obnoxious Cast. And I just, like, drink a milkshake, but it's like always just at the end, so the straw's making a bunch of noise, and then I'm just like crunching chips the whole time. But yeah, and if I help you fall asleep, I am glad to be part of your nightly routine. I'm glad to provide a service. Hopefully, it's not the boringness of the video that puts you to sleep. Hopefully, it's the soothing, sultry sounds of bears and conscripts and dogs ripping each other apart. Anyways, that'll do it for game number 1. Like I said, we've got 3 replays to check out today. We are jumping into the next 3v3. And that brings us back to Magmageddon. Hey, I mean, we're always on Magmageddon in this video. Meanwhile, in the top left-hand corner, as the green allied player, it's Allied Player. No, just kidding. Squee84. But I did think it's funny that it's green in the top left again. I guess it's not. Look, there's not that much similarity, but it seemed more similar when I first saw it. As the blue Soviets in the middle, this is OBIEK. That one is actually pretty similar. Same faction, same position on the map. And, well, just a different color. Meanwhile, playing as that yellow allies in the south, it's Error404. The old missing webpage guy. Meanwhile, in the top right-hand corner, as the purple Soviets, this is Sambak. Their ally in the middle, playing as the red allies, it's Kong. Is it KingKonG? I don't know. I'll just call him Kong just in case there's a second player named Kong. Meanwhile, in the bottom right-hand corner, as the orange empire, it's GoDoFWaR. Once again, this is a little bit of an older game, but it looks like GoDoFWaR starting out with some, harvester stealing, oil derrick stealing right out of the gate. He's going to get himself, or try and get himself, 2 oil derricks. I think that wall is blocking enough that it won't still let that bear get the engineer. No, didn't even need it. I guess if he didn't have the wall, then the bear would have been able to get a little bit closer. Airfield is up. First 4 Javelin soldiers are out. Now, if the Peacekeepers can clean up the Imperial Warriors, Javelin soldiers have really nothing to worry about. But there's the crush from the MCV. Gets both of them. And GoDoFWaR has been defeated in this initial attack. He's got both of the oil derricks under his control, which was really the main point of that kind of an early game push. But if you can get a couple of Javelin soldiers, if you can get a little bit more disruption, then that's always fantastic. Good lockdown of a bunch of Peacekeepers there. A couple of conscripts going to be able to burn those Peacekeepers down and buy a little bit more time for these bullfrogs to be viable on the front line. Error404 running Kong out of his base, and even the Riptide going to get trapped here as this terror drone getting some real value, and double crush for the MCV. Error404 bringing the pain with just his MCV against the team on the right side. A little bit slow on the infantry movements here, but that could have been lag more than bad control by Kong. We all have those moments of the latency just gets to you in Red Alert 3. Lovely bomb splitting there by Error404, getting as much value as he can. Ooh, terror drone coming in. The engineer for Error404 finally going to be capturing his own oil derrick back. Going to be getting that up and running, and it looks like Sambak gets an easy, well, never mind. That was like maybe the fastest kill of a terror drone when there is no apparent way when the terror drone gets the infect. There's no apparent way to repair, and then just done and done. Apollo's trading blows with those Tengus just a little bit there. GoDoFWaR trying to hold his own in the south. He loses his oil derrick to OBIEK, interestingly. OBIEK bringing the mad plays by stealing oil derricks from other people. Terror drone gonna get locked down, and the engineer is gonna... Oh, is the engineer gonna get the kill on the terror drone? Yes, he does! Hero engineer right there. That combat engineer sniping the terror drone. Something we all love to see. Happens very rarely, just because it's not practical. Big flip. No flip for the Tengus. Their timer must not be ready, but now the Apollos are here, so it kind of doesn't matter. Die in the air or die on the ground. Your choice. Might get a Tengu, doesn't get a Tengu. Trades all 3 out of those 4, nearly all 4 of those Tengus for that engagement, but Error 404 kind of had GoDoFWaR backed into a corner in that sense, was able to target down those forces, force him into a bad choice. If you do nothing, you get killed by the Vindicators. If you do something, you get jumped on by those Apollos. Riptide's coming in. Hammer Tanks get the focus on that Riptide. Bullfrog's getting eliminated by Vindicators, but it looks like Sandbag will be pushed back by Squee just barely. The multi-gunner turret about to get eliminated, but it holds strong, gets an extra couple of shots, cleans up an extra couple of conscripts. Nice Harvester harass coming in from GoDoFWaR. It might be a little bit more costly than he intended, but he does manage to sneak out just barely, only taking one shot from that multi-gunner turret. Tengu's coming in for another pass against those, or Vindicator's coming in for another pass against those Tengus. It's going to be 4 against the 1, trying to get on top of those Apollos, but the Apollos are just a little bit too good, and that return to base is just a little bit too fast. Lovely control there by Error 404, getting as many shots as he possibly can against GoDoFWaR, and GoDoFWaR, it looks like, or maybe OBIEK was going to drop down a Tesla coil in defense. But OBIEK pushing deep into the base of Kong, and maybe not in a totally successful way, as he's only got a couple of... Oh, this Cryocopter showing up at just the right time. Can the Vindicators get the kill on this Engineer? They need to go for it. No, they don't. He loses the airfield. Kong going to be losing control of his own airfield while Hammer Tanks tear down one of his expansions. He got the Cryocopter out literally just moments to spare on getting that Cryocopter out in time, and now these Hammer Tanks will be dealt with if they don't make their escape real quick from this base. They're going to get a couple of Javelin soldiers, but he stops to trade blows directly, and he loses the opportunity to get the nice and easy crush. Terror Drone going to help escape away from these forces or get the kill on that Javelin soldier. Either one is good. Kong with the bombing runs against OBIEK, and this airfield eventually going to be going down, but GoDoFWaR using his Tengus to clean that up. Meanwhile, Error 404 gets the snipe on the Vindicator, gets the snipe on the Cryocopter as well. Just a mess of 3 or 4 players all interacting in the same tight spot on the map. All 4 of them going back and forth in this match. Sandbag getting pulled back from the front line. Kong dropping the multi-gunner turret on the front line to help him out. Another Tesla coil coming up from OBIEK in the north to try and strengthen the defense or the offense of Squee. Big looks from the guys in the north. It's sort of the battle of the 4 in the south versus the 2 in the north. Or rather, the 2 in the north are having a 1v1 and the guys in the south are having a 2v2. Sandbag once again retreating from the front line. Kong into low power mode. The Hammer Tanks and the... What is this force from OBIEK that still hasn't been dealt with? Kong never able to totally crush this force. It looked like he was going to be able to stop it with his Cryocopter, but he was never able to totally finish the force off, and OBIEK has still been doing damage, being annoying. Meanwhile, in the south, GoDoFWaR pushes in. It's all about this Assault Destroyer. There isn't very much firepower beyond the Assault Destroyer, but it's going to be the Cryo Shot and the Weapons Jammer from the Hydrofoils that maybe allow Error 404 to hold it. No, the multi-gunner turret coming up at just the last moment. These hydrofoils being worth their weight in gold, but it might just be too many Empire forces from GoDoFWaR. Too much firepower as he finally breaks through the defense and nearly getting his win, but he still is being stopped by another multi-gunner turret. More body blocking coming in from our team on the left side as GoDoFWaR is so close to shutting down this forward position from Error 404, but he's still so far away of actually making it happen. OBIEK with the reinforcements, the Twin Blades coming in to stop this attack, and the MiGs to help seal the deal. The Apollos on standby as well in case anything goes for the transform. Error 404 with the help of OBIEK has held the front line. Meanwhile, in the north, conscripts, flak troopers against bears, but OBIEK joining the fray with Squee. Big drop of toxins is going to force both players to disengage. OBIEK helping out in the south, helping out in the north, spinning all areas of the map under his control. He's striking out in the middle. He is everywhere on this map. He's sort of being the MVP of this game. We'll see if Sandbag is able to finally punch through or if Squee in the north is able to make headway and Well, the turret push around the side. I don't know if this... okay, it is a Tesla coil. For a second, I thought it was a flak cannon because of all of the aircraft here from Squee. Sandbach drops the barracks to try and body block. The MCV just going to get frozen down, and Squee may have had the opportunity handed to him. We'll see if he's able to capitalize on it as OBIEK still continuing to tear through the middle of the map with his twin blades. The hammer tanks, the flaks, and the conscripts have come around, but they get jumped on by this allied force, and they get pushed back. Satellites coming in from OBIEK, trying to create more space for Squee. The MCV escapes. The MCV packs up. The turret push is done. Sandbach is not going to be able to keep his aggression up. And once again, we result in a stalemate in the north. But OBIEK has created so much space for his twin blades to do way more than they should ever have been able to because everyone else is so distracted. GoDoFWaR making big strides now against OBIEK as GoDoFWaR turns to the north and is going to be looking to bring the pain to OBIEK with this Empire army. Hammer tanks are here for the defense from OBIEK, and the Tesla coil finishes just in time. Gets the blast against a couple of these Imperial warriors, but OBIEK holds the line while his twin blades still trading blows into the north, cycling around the entire map and sniping harvester after harvester. That guy's kill count is just insane against those harvesters. Cryoblast fires off, catches a couple of javelin soldiers, and creates an opportunity for these power plants to get sniped. Will it be enough to send Squee into low power mode? It'll slow the reinforcements, but it doesn't do anything to stop what's here already on the ground. Hammer tanks crushing forward. Is it enough? One Mirage tank and an Athena cannon, but the cryocopters are where the real value is. There's just not enough of them. The anti-air is strong enough to push back the cryocopters, and the ground army falls. The cryocopters fall as Squee doesn't have anything left on the ground. Can someone save him? Can someone turn their way to the north and push Sam back away? But the cryoblast fires off. This could be a juicy one. A big hit of 4 tanks. No, it only catches 2 of the hammer tanks, but can he collapse? Squee has no opportunity to actually kill off those units. Sentry gun from OBIEK coming in kind of clutch as now the Mirage tank is on the front line, but the MCV gets sniped, and OBIEK now is going to be the only defense that Squee has as he lost his MCV and he's about to lose his war factory as well. Squee might be out of the game. Meanwhile, furiously fighting in the south, GoDoFWaR is striking out once again, having not done anything against OBIEK. He is now turning his attention back to Error 404. Meanwhile, the base of Error 404 almost looks as much like OBIEK's base as it does his own. Twin Blades coming in, and they're here to clean up the last of the remnants of the army of Sandbach. Squee is still in this game, but functionally, how much? Yeah, no MCV. No production facilities, I think, at all. So Squee is out of it other than he's just going to be gathering resources. I don't even know if he has any actual units out on the map. He can build peacekeepers, the most inefficient way to build peacekeepers, but he can do it. OBIEK pushing through the middle of the map. OBIEK cycling down to the south side. Not a lot of anti-air for this army of GoDoFWaR. I'm guessing the MiGs either took it out already or he was never able to really get it out onto the water. Strikers maybe going to get jumped on as these twin blades might just try and choose to engage. It's only 2 strikers. Kong shows up with the IFVs, the real anti-air powerhouse, to push away those twin blades, but the terrain splitting up these tsunami tanks a little bit more than GoDoFWaR would have liked. Hammer tank gets frozen in the middle of the map. The Peacekeeper going to be going for the kill. Lovely kill of a fully heroic hammer tank for that Peacekeeper. Kong finding some kind of strength to stand against OBIEK. Kong, I think, maybe just resettling himself. Twin Blades pulling out to the south side. Sandbach trying to rebuild. Peacekeeper going to get eliminated by the bear. Tsunami tanks coming up to the north. GoDoFWaR maybe going to try and cross the map. Squee has been defeated, hands everything over to OBIEK. I think it's random as far as when you leave a game who gets your stuff. So I guess it's probably good that it was OBIEK, although maybe Error 404 would have been able to do more with it, because OBIEK was already in a pretty good position, and Error 404 was kind of in an awkward one. Maybe the additional income could have really benefited him. But, I mean, we'll see. OBIEK now has Allied and... well, no, actually, he doesn't. He doesn't have Allied Tech Tree. He just has Allied Harvesters, which, hey, they are cheaper, so that much is going for him. OBIEK losing pretty much every single Twin Blade. Goodbye, Twin Blades. Goodbye, Mobile Attack Force, as Sambak gets the kill on that terrifying force of OBIEK. Tsunami tanks all managed to escape, but no, there's still 5 Twin Blades roaming around the map, and the MiGs are here as well to ensure that there isn't an easy defense here by GoDoFWaR. Not a couple of Tengus are going to show up here to get the kill on these Twin Blades. You needed something with a little bit more punch than just a couple of Tengus. Cryocopter gets sniped. 2 Tsunami tanks walk into a wall of hammers, and OBIEK gets a couple of extra free kills, and now OBIEK donating a couple more MiGs to the Sambak Efficiency Fund, as Sambak getting the kill on a bunch of that OBIEK aircraft. A 3v3, but, or a 3v2, excuse me, but OBIEK definitely taking up a big chunk of the map. Sambak and Toxins dropped. Going to be keeping OBIEK away from that area for the current moment. Kong and GoDoFWaR definitely both, you know, having dealt with a lot in this game. Sambak as well, having had a big army at one point, but not so much anymore. Sambak finally decides, hey, you know what? I'm going to go for Twin Blades of my own. Big Cryogeddon fires off, and OBIEK wasn't quite paying attention, loses possibly everything here. The Tesla coil may be going down as well, and Kong going to be pushing in. Strikers transform to clear out the MiGs, and big freeze as the Terror Drones get the infect on basically everything. But the hitback of OBIEK is going to be the Toxins as the tanks push forward, and OBIEK's Twin Blades come to the defense. Once again, it's a wash as both teams eliminate the other's forces. OBIEK has not been pushed back. Sambak with bears and bullfrogs out in the water against OBIEK's bullfrogs and refinery out in the water. Error 404 going for the kill on the MCV. Is he going to be able to actually do critical damage? Final Squadron, a complete miss here as Kong's Cryocopter gets sniped. Barely not able to freeze that Assault Destroyer. And GoDoFWaR going for the hero defense with the MCV. His Mecha Bay may not last the night as OBIEK comes in for the kill. And this may be the exact help that Error 404 needed. No, Kong has got the multi-gunner IFVs here as well. And they're going to get the snipe on the Tier 2 Mecha Bay. But not much more than that. That's enough to really send GoDoFWaR back to the Stone Age and make this defense so much more difficult. Error 404 managing to get out that aircraft carrier. He's going to be losing a couple of Apollos. A little bit of a donation there to Kong. Meanwhile, OBIEK in the middle of the map. Looks like something sniping down that war factory. Kong losing a bit of the war factory, losing a bit of his production. GoDoFWaR rebuilding out on the water. Kong has a big section of the map under his control, but is he going to be able to use it to actually match the technological advantage of Error 404? V4's in the north. Sambak has finally decided on a route to push back OBIEK and, well, what used to be squeeze stuff. EMP locks down the MCV, and the aircraft carrier will get the kill. Well done there by Error 404. The Naval Yard did manage to escape, and one refinery will be still functioning over on the right side of the map for GoDoFWaR, but it's basically down to a 2v2. The fact that Sambak has been able to get out the V4s is definitely good. He's going to need that artillery to help with these engagements. Looks like Sambak and Kong joining forces. GoDoFWaR may be able to avoid... Oh, no, GoDoFWaR has been defeated, and his buildings don't go to anyone. So I'm not sure why that was. I guess he sold off rather than quit the game. If you sell off, you can still watch the game, so you still get to observe, but then you're not just like hanging out by yourself. But obviously, you want to give this stuff to your friends to have them have the better chance of winning, to give your allies the best chance of winning. And the big push, Sambak and Kong finally together. Satellites and Cryoblast joining together as the V4s firing from both sides. Couple of bullfrogs just hanging around doing nothing while the hammer tank's pushing forward, and the APOC tank is now on the front line as the MCV pulls back. Guardian tanks and Javelin soldiers going to be turning their guns to that APOC tank. That laser painter making short work of that APOC, and most of the bullfrogs have gone down. Most of the anti-air is in the Javelin soldiers as they need to turn their attention to those twin blades. The V4s from both sides peppering the battleground with shot after shot. Twin blades coming in for another pass. OBIEK trying desperately to keep everything online. Sambak's Natasha gets sniped for nothing. Natasha coming the wrong way around the cliff gets eliminated basically for no reason at all. Iron Curtain fires off, keeping the V4s alive and giving them opportunity to push back this infrastructure. They might actually get the battle lab as well. Sambak with the critical Iron Curtain play. He's going to be allowing he's going to allow OBIEK to get eliminated. They'll allow the tier 3 of OBIEK to be killed. As the Iron Curtain finally wears off there, the reactor's getting targeted down. OBIEK getting pushed further back and further back. Meanwhile, Error 404 starting to cut off the lifeblood of Kong, turning up to the north, and he's actually going to be sniping the infrastructure while OBIEK deals with the frontline army. The attack turning sour, perhaps in the last moment, as the Kirov's coming in for the kill. The Kirov's going to be working their own magic in the north. The magic of the Kirov is something we all ask for at Christmas time. And what bloody days this map has seen. As that was a giant battle raging in the middle of the map. Aircraft carrier is going to be going for the kill on the power plants. Not the critical infrastructure, but it keeps Kong in low power mode, keeps his production slowed, keeps him from being able to utilize multi-gunner turrets for the defense. IFV's scrambling to try and find an angle. OBIEK and Error 404, I think they've finally been able to do it. That tier 3 is so good. A couple of misfires from those V4s from OBIEK. Going to be doing a bit of friendly fire. Aircraft carriers pulling a lot of weight in this one to really clean up GoDoFWaR, which created an opportunity for the 2v2 to be a little bit more even rather than a 2v3. Mirage tanks coming in. OBIEK once again killing his brother's Mirage tanks. And infantry going to try and hold their ground. Kong doing what he can. Natasha comes back out for Sambak to try and disrupt this area in the north, try and shut down this expansion. I'm not sure what happened to that Kirov. The Kirov getting cleaned up at some point, and the Dreadnought instead going to be the unit of choice for Sambak. Natasha gets sniped by the Toxins, and it's going to be up to the Dreadnought to clear the ground. APOC tanks in the middle of the map with their hammer tank friends. Another refinery getting sniped. Single bombing run to clean that up. Iron Curtain saves the super reactor for the current moment. Cryogeddon fires off, locks down one of the aircraft carriers, but can Kong really do anything about that? OBIEK is watching over with his twin blades. And I think that's it for Kong. Yep, Kong has been defeated. It's all coming to Sandbach now as the super reactor gets eliminated, and Sandbach has very little hope in this game. His Dreadnought is still putting out missiles, still doing what it can to sink OBIEK. Ultra torpedoes take a big chunk out of the health of that Dreadnought, but that is all she wrote as the last few rockets fire off. They're going to secure a multi-gunner turret kill, but whoop-de-doo. Iron Curtain, almost the savior of the Soviet Union, but ultimately the wall will fall as Sandbach has been defeated. Squee, OBIEK, and Arrow 404 take the game, and that will do it for this second match. We have got one more to check out in this video, and pretty action-packed matches here on Magmageddon. Let's hope the third one lives up to it as well. And rounding out our MagmaExtravaganza, Magmageddon Extravaganza, what did we call it? I don't remember. We have got a third match here. I didn't plan on that intro very well, but as the Red Allies in the north, it's YuNo. I was thinking about doing the Allied player same joke again, but I decided not to. And as the Blue Soviets in the middle, this is You Know Him, You Love Him, Sandbach. Yeah, it's not OBIEK. It's a different Soviet player in that same exact position. Meanwhile, as the Cyan Soviets on the left side, this is GoDoFWaR, rounding out our team number 1. And our team on the east side of the map, this, as the Purple Allies, is Valera Igrok. In the middle, as the green EmpirePlayer, it's EmpirePlayer. No, it actually is EmpirePlayer once again. So that's not just me being dumb. As the yellow Soviets in the north, this is Fury. All right, last game of this video, and I'm sure I have other 3v3s on Magmageddon in my email, but I hadn't come across them at the point when I was prepping the replays for this recording section, so, you know. I guess we'll probably have more of this stuff in the future. If you're a fan of the team games, there seems to always be more and more of them. And I've seen some of the emails are like 2v2v2, so I think we'll probably do some more 2v2v2s in the near future as well. But I got a kitty cat in my room now. Well, not now, but I mean, like, the cat walked into the room, so I rolled my ankle at work last week, and I have my foot up on like a chair, and so the cat, and there's a pillow on the chair, and so the cat is like, this seems like the best place to sleep. So I'm kneeling on a pillow, and then also a cat is like running around. Meanwhile, these conscripts are cutting through those peacekeepers with the help of the bear and the sickle. A beautiful win there by Fury, but it will be short-lived as a single multi-gunner turret will pretty much crush that entire force that's moving up to the north. EmpirePlayer with a sneaky dojo trying to infect the main base of GoDoFWaR, trying to shut him down, trying to pull some kind of sneaky win out of somewhere and just run right past the MCV. There's no multi-gunner turret. Oh, there it is. I was like, there's nothing queued up, which I couldn't believe, but it's actually because the multi-gunner turret was already being placed down, and they're going for the kill. They already got one Vindicator. They're going for the kill on the airfield, and they're barely not going to get it, you know, by 50% of its health or so. They're not going to get it. But good use, you know, if you're going to sacrifice the Tengus, get them nice up close and personal with that airfield. I love that this one conscript is like, I will do it all by myself, and of course the Vindicator is the is harassing the actual Harvester, but this conscript is like, I'm gonna get this one power plant, I'm gonna just slowly kill it with my Molotov cocktails, and finally Vindicator goes for the kill on him. Dojo gets eliminated, Terror Drone getting that kill, EmpirePlayer going for the harass, but the Stingray looks like we'll be able to push this away, not totally shut it down, but at least push away that Tengu. And the Harvester over here has not been sent into that armor mode, so it is still harvesting, but it is also taking a lot of damage, and it might actually end up getting eliminated here. But no, the Terror Drone, or the Tengu, decides to fly away. Not a very successful flight, all things considered. And the other Tengu will transform and maybe escape on out of there. Vindicators passing through the north, and that Jet Tengu is close to death as it skates on by all of these forces. Oh no, come on, Jet Tengu, what are you doing? Goodbye, Mr. Tengu. Sandbach with an additional Tesla coil in the north trying to defend YuNo. And hey, if YuNo can get up to 3 refineries, get out to that tier 3 relatively quickly, that could be something that seals the deal and wins this game for our team on the left side. So Sandbach dropping the reactor, dropping to maintain the build radius, and then dropping the Tesla coil for the defense may be a very valid strategy indeed if it gets that allied player up to that killer late game tech. Bear getting para-dropped in. They're going to be going for the camp on this dojo, allowing these tank busters, allowing these flak troopers to hopefully get up close and personal and finally eliminate this barracks. Well, tank busters back online. They're up against the hammer tank, and the YuNo's Vindicators coming out from a bombing run against the forces of Valera. Valera getting pressured, but the multi-gunner turret will be the saving grace of Valera, as it looks like EmpirePlayer is, no, it must be Fury drafting that Tesla coil in the water there. EmpirePlayer with a couple of tank busters pushing in the south. And Vindicators getting the kill, I guess. I'm not actually sure how those 2 bullfrogs went down. Somebody killed those bullfrogs, but I don't know who it was. Sandbach presses forward, Bears getting crushed, and these tsunami tanks clearing the ground. EmpirePlayer may be able to overwhelm the forces here. Let's see what the reinforcements for Sandbach do. Terror Drone gets sniped, perfectly done there, just in time as Vindicators coming in from YuNo clean up one of the tsunami tanks, and the flak troopers are going for the kill on the other tsunamis. Good control by EmpirePlayer. Pretty much a perfect handling of that engagement as best as he could. I'm sure he would like to have a couple of extra tanks here, but now things are going to go sour. Units in the air, something that Empire has some trouble dealing with at times. And no Tengus here, no strikers on the ground to clean this up. The push does continue, but I think it'll slow down at this point. 2 hammer tanks going to be going for the trade against these tsunamis as the tank busters get up close and personal. Again, good control by EmpirePlayer, able to just hold the line and do as much as he can against this Soviet force. The Bear comes in for the kill, gets one of the tank busters, but not the other, as the saving Striker VXs show up just in time to push away those twin blades. But no, the twin blade gets the kill anyways, and the Terror Drone and the tank buster gets killed off. YuNo heading deep into enemy territory with these 2 IFVs is going to get himself a Striker and an Ore Collector, it looks like, pretty much for free. He may have to trade out the IFVs, but another Harvester going down. This is definitely worth it for YuNo, who's gotten a lot of value for those units. Fury now coming in with his own harassment, gets the kill on that Harvester, pulls out with his twin blades. Fury with that Tesla coil in the south, adding a bit of strength to the defense of Valera. EmpirePlayer trying to push away those twin blades of Sandbach. Sam retreats. Twin Blades still harassing Fury in the north with the harassment. Those Twin Blades doing some good damage, but YuNo finally showing up with the IFV to get the jump on those Twin Blades and kill them off. That IFV barely surviving. Tesla Troopers on the front line. Fury and EmpirePlayer joining forces. Again, the single Twin Blade seems to be the nemesis of our team on the right. Tesla Troopers go for the kill, Strikers go for the transform, and that is a dead Twin Blade as it explodes over the middle of the map. The sell-off of the refinery as these Strikers press on forward, stomping their way to a bad situation as they are going to have to transform, but there's a bunch of bullfrogs just waiting for them to transform. There's the jump on the bullfrogs. He gets one. He gets the other as he closes the distance, and now he's got these strikers, which have an opportunity to do some real damage against old Sammy boy. But will they find the opportunity, or is the anti-air going to be good enough from Sam? Twin Blades moving out, maybe just go for the strike of the oil derrick, but no, they're going for the Twin Blades. 2 Twin Blades go down. Flak Troopers, a surprise from GoDoFWaR, manages to get the kill on one of those strikers, and the Terror Drone gets the infect on the other striker. Meanwhile, in the north, YuNo continuing to press forward. Fury, who once was doing a bit of harassment and keeping YuNo on YuNo's side of the map, is instead going to be taking some direct damage from YuNo. Oh, that's so frustrating when you force fire your own unit to get the kill on the Terror Drone as well, and then the Terror Drone actually escapes, and it doesn't even matter. Sam back going for the press forward with these Terror Drones. And somehow GoDoFWaR managed to sneak an Akula sub around the south side of the map. Valera has gone up to Tier 3. That aircraft carrier is now going to be raining down fire and destruction on GoDoFWaR from afar. This defense from Sam may not be enough. All of his forces in the north. He actually doesn't even have that many forces. He's going to need some kind of defense against all of this stuff from EmpirePlayer, as Empire is going to be pressuring this expansion and then maybe even just moving on to the main base of Sam. Fury is buckling. In the north, there isn't much left for Fury, but GoDoFWaR pressing forward with the Twin Frog, the Flak Troopers as well. His own main base is getting shut down, but he's got the shutdown on the aircraft carrier inside the minimum range of fire, and that stasis locking down everything for that aircraft carrier. The Stingrays get the kill, and GoDoFWaR has bought himself so much time. He's got himself a little harassment force out on the map doing what he can. Sam finally turns his army around, his hammer tanks closing in on the forces of EmpirePlayer, as EmpirePlayer wants to keep pushing deeper into the territory of Sam. Goes for the crush on the Bears, needs to shut down the barracks so his infantry army doesn't turn to mincemeat as the Bears press forward. The Harvester may be coming off the line for the crush. We'll see how effective it actually is as a hammer tank gets eaten up right as it spawns in. EmpirePlayer needs to keep pushing deeper into the base, into the production of Sam, but Sam's army is finally caught up. A beautiful roar coming out from Sam. There's the body block by the tsunami tanks trying to keep the infantry alive. The Terror Drones rushing through the middle of all of those tank busters, but the crush is too real. It's too powerful, and this one bullfrog is unchecked, taking out 3 of those Striker VXs, and the entire ground army evaporates without the infantry to help anchor the DPS of EmpirePlayer. His tsunami tanks just fell apart. Toxins getting dropped. GoDoFWaR still cycling around the map with his Twin Frog combination. He's trying to make something happen, and now YuNo has turned their attention to the south. Fury pushed out of their own main base and just hanging out in the north, trying to do some kind of Tesla coil push off of 1, maybe 2 refineries. EmpirePlayer, now with the army defeated on the left side of the map, is getting targeted down and harassed. YuNo going for the kill on the MCV. The power plant and the production will be next, and EmpirePlayer might be out of it. He's still got a naval yard there in the corner on the right side of the map, but not enough if it's just one production facility. I don't know that that'll be enough to swing things back into his favor. GoDoFWaR getting EMP'd as the cryo lands on one, well, I guess a Terror Drone as well, but on that one Akula sub, and that's really the only thing of value there. Akula sub for Fury shows up as well to defend Valera, as YuNo maybe is actually having a bit of trouble with this one Twin Blade in the north. Somehow YuNo not having enough forces to deal with that. EmpirePlayer forced out only to the water. Beacons getting dropped everywhere. GoDoFWaR turning his attention to the north. GoDoFWaR somehow in like the top right corner of the map and also the bottom left corner of the map. GoDoFWaR is just spread out all over the place, taking every opportunity that he possibly can. Multi-gunner turret gets deployed, and that is the end of the harass that GoDoFWaR was so successfully executing for the last 5 minutes or so. EmpirePlayer cycling around with his own Striker VX, going to try and cut down these exposed expansions of God of War. Oh, well, that was a beautiful spot for that Twin Blade, and barely the Twin Blade doesn't matter as that Striker comes in for the kill anyways. Gonna go for the kill on the Crusher Crane as well. A fully heroic Striker VX going to be putting the damage out on that Crusher Crane, but God of War here, the defending Bullfrogs push away the Striker and barely secure the win for God of War in defending Sam's stuff. Sam has now actually turned his attention. The hammer tanks coming to the south, going to be killing Valera's main base, pushing Valera out onto the water almost entirely as Valera is looking to take the main base of God of War as well. The expansion of God of War being taken over, and the main base is next. Multi-gunner turrets getting sniped as this double-barreled, double-gun hammer tanks just make short work of buildings. That flak cannon on the hammer tank, I think, doing some good work. God of War getting crushed down to pretty much just this little section of the map. MCV maybe not really around anymore. Ooh, a preemptive cryoblast firing off, trying to force these units into a bad situation. The Assault Destroyer goes for the crush. The Assault Destroyer gets eliminated, but it's now an Assault Destroyer versus a hammer tank. But the Terror Drone is here as well, and the Terror Drone is going to get the Infect to get the lockdown of that Assault Destroyer, and that's a good move for Sam. Conyard getting targeted down. YuNo's Vindicators, which have been making bombing runs across the map pretty much all game long. Sandbach has been defeated. Fury has been defeated. One player from each team disappears. And it looks like it's going to be down to a 2v2. EmpirePlayer perhaps getting a second chance, but honestly, I'm not sure how much stuff EmpirePlayer actually just got. I forgot that EmpirePlayer was even still in this game. Trying desperately to get out something. He's got a little bit of production. Now he's got some extra harvesters. Chronosphere on the field for YuNo. Valera has totally taken over this southern section of the map. God of War now with Sandbach's resources and production, at least a crane under his control, is now going to start wheeling and dealing with these Twin Blades. Never mind. Valera has been defeated. Empire has been defeated. Fury, Empire, and Valera take the L as YuNo and God of War holding the line as Sandbach left and securing the win for the team on the left side. What an absolute messy mess of a mess for that Magmageddon match. Really messy matches all around here as these guys have been playing some entertaining, but I imagine highly stressful games. That'll do it for this game, for this video. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and this is Sybert signing out.